if you got into this business anytime after 2008, you haven't seen a bear market.
Ever.
So that's 12 years.
Ever.
So ever, right? So I mean, there are people who got into the business in their mid-20s. They're now, established and running real money. They're in their late 30s or early 40s, and they've never seen a bear market. And it's all good, and this is normal. And I talked to a guy who was looking at putting some money in my fund, and he went to 5 traditional wealth managers, and they all recommended very, very heavy allocation to the U.S. stock market and the triple Qs and all the big names. Buy Apple, buy Google, buy the FANGs, right? He said, I'm reaching out to you because it just doesn't feel right to me. And I'm like, well, okay. He's not a stock guy at all. He's an engineer. And he said, this doesn't feel right to me. And they're all saying the same thing. And yet I read some stuff, and I'm like, it seems like the market's a bit overvalued. Should I be doing that? And I'm like, well, okay, let's talk. This is not going to end well. The stock market is not going to end well. Now, I mean, it's almost going vertical right now. And, it's very hard because it could end tomorrow. It could be another couple of years of vertical. Who knows? But I can tell you this. I sure wouldn't have any of my money in the general U.S. stock market. It's a complete shit show. So, great investors. You said something along the lines of, the way you do well in investing is you find out what the narrative is that's wrong, and then you wait and you bet, and you bet against it when it appears to be cracking. And I'll tell you what I think that is right now. I mean, the narrative thus far is the Fed has our back, and the Fed will always have our back, and we just do not have to worry about it. So party on, Garth, in the stock market and in the bond market everywhere. I mean, why people would buy a 10-year yielding 130 is beyond me. But so the Fed, in theory, has our back, and so you got to ask yourself: is that really right? Is it possible that the Fed, at some point, the Fed does not have your back? And that's what I believe will happen. And I think it could happen rather dramatically and rather quickly. And the other assumption a lot of people
make. What catalyzes that, though?
Well, it's unclear. It's very unclear. I mean, it could, I don't know, but it's so. First of all, you got to get more and more people thinking and doubting the Fed. I mean, 10 years ago, nobody doubted them. I mean. Or a few of us did, but I quickly got overtaken by all the people who believe, and of course, then the self-reinforcing growth in the market. But I don't know. I mean, I think it's some big event where they fail, and everyone says, "Oh my God, we're getting screwed here." And I think actually, Chris, what it will be is it'll be kind of a jumping the rails kind of thing. One of the things that people assume is that the markets are continuous. And I did a thread on this on Twitter a while back. I mean, what if we woke up one morning, and the bond, the stock market was down 800 points, on some news event, unknown, unclear, right? Stock market was down 800 points, gold was up $200, and the bond market was hugely off, so that interest rates were rising. And the Fed would step up and make a ton of announcements, like they did. And a good dress rehearsal of this was March of last year, right? I mean, COVID thing came on and everything really started falling apart. And Powell came in and did his Draghi moment, right? Whatever it takes, don't worry, we're going to solve it. And I'll never forget it because gold went up $100, a day for 2 days in a row. What's going to happen, in my view, is there could be a big market shock, and the Fed could try and do the Draghi moment, and everyone goes, I don't believe it. Screw it. I'm going to keep buying gold. I'm going to keep buying Bitcoin. I'm going to keep selling stocks. I'm going to keep, selling the bond. And so they go down again. And then all the circuit breakers get hit. We're now down 20%, and Biden comes on the TV and says, everything's fine, don't panic, the Fed's got it all under control. And everyone looks about and says, do they really? I'm not sure. How much cash have I got? How much have I got? And the markets open up again, and they sell off heavy. Then Biden has to come on and says, you know what, like FDR did, because they did this in the 30s, as you recall, you study it. We're closing the market for 10 days, right? Because in other words, the sell orders have just totally swamped. There are no buyers. Right? We're closing the market for 10 days. Well, what the fuck is that all about, right? I mean, we got this free market, but you got to close it? I mean, you want to talk about creating panic, right? I mean, 10 days are over, and then it opens again, and it's more of the same, right? More selling. I mean, and gold goes up $1,000, if you can find some. Bitcoin has doubled or tripled. I mean, you follow where I'm going with this? I mean, it's literally everybody
everything's fine until it isn't.
Exactly. And everybody wants the other side of the trade all at once, and there is no going back.
Yep.
I mean, you either have sound money, have real stuff, or you don't. And you might look at your stock account. I mean, imagine if every American who's got a big retirement account that's invested in the Qs woke up one day and realized, holy shit, I just got marked down 40%, and it might be worse than that. Do you know what I mean? I mean, it'll be a lot. I mean, you're talking massive panic. And a lot of people, it'd be 29 on steroids. A lot of people would say, fuck, I mean, I can't, my atonic's going to be wiped out. I got to get out of here. And they'd say, sell. And it would just, I mean, who would be the buyer? That's the question. Who would be the buyer? I don't see it. I just don't, and the Fed would say, well, don't worry, we got it all under control. Okay, fine. You're going to print the paper to have it all under control, but suddenly everyone's going to see those Fed numbers, see the balance sheet growth, see what they're printing, get a sense of what's going on. They're going to go, well, yeah, of course you're going to print the paper, but the paper's going to be worthless.
Right.
So have I got gold? Have I got silver? Have I got Bitcoin? Have I got real estate? Have I got real stuff? I mean, the stuff you have, the guns you have, the cars you have, the food you have, the houses you have, I mean, all that will have value. And then suddenly, people who are living in cities will be thinking, oh my God, I'm not in the right place. And people who are living in farms will be thinking, God, I'm glad I'm here. And it'll be just a whole shift in how it all goes down and how everybody feels about life. And there'll be no going back. It's a one-time deal. And I hate to, I hate to be gloom and doom, but it just feels to me like the way it's likely to happen. Now, what's going to catalyze that and make that happen? I don't know. And there's a part of me that hopes that we just kind of gradually inflate and grow our way out of it, and that we gold and silver and Bitcoin investors all do well, and that eventually the government wakes up and goes, we got a serious inflation problem here. We've really screwed up this monetary system. We need to do a complete and total reset. We're going to go to a gold standard. We're going to go to a Bitcoin, and we're going to reset the system.
When you look at that chart of the Dow, and over the course of 100 years, and it does nothing but go up, and then you see how the quote-unquote thought leaders in the world of finance are revered for their expertise when all they do is say just buy because stocks always go up, right?
Right.
That's Buffett's made a whole career on saying that. He's the oracle. Right. This guy has made a whole career out of just hoping that the central banks will be able to goose the markets forever and making that his analysis when people from outside the box look at that and they say, there has to be a fatal flaw in here somewhere because it's just not natural for markets to always go up. So where is the consequence going to be? What macroeconomic indicators are we brutalizing and distorting beyond complete repair in order to maintain this semblance that the market should always rise for one reason or the other, right?
The obvious one is the underlying value of the currency unit. I mean, one way to make the market always go up is just to debase the currency, and that's exactly what they're doing. I mean, the other flaw in Keynesianism, and we talked about kind of the perpetual growth flaw, the other flaw in Keynesianism is it suggests that savings is bad. Savings is not bad. Savings is good. Savings is what allows, saving capital and producing capital and not spending it and then investing it in capital goods to make more things. That's what increases productivity, and it's productivity that gives us all better lifestyles. So, increased productivity is what increases good economic outcomes.
Right.
And yet the Keynesians believe that no, we got to increase growth at all expense. Forget the productivity; it's not relevant. Even if we have to borrow from ourselves in the future, I mean, they're bringing all this future demand into today's life just to try and pump that growth number. But it's like eating the seed corn. You want to have a bigger harvest, you got to plant more seed corn. You plant more seed corn by saving and having capital and savings that you can get a return on. And we're not getting returns. I mean, why would anyone save in a 0% interest rate environment? The currency by definition is worthless. It's a tautology. I mean, it's obvious that with no earnings on capital, you're not going to get savings. Therefore, you're not going to get productivity growth. Therefore, all we really are is we're like that wealthy British family that's, in the 30s that's selling off the estate and the silver, to support our lifestyle. And pretty soon the estate and the silver will be gone. We'll be fucked.
Right.
I mean, that's what's happening. And the reason it hasn't fully surfaced, although a lot, I mean, I shouldn't say fully surfaced because it's surfacing. There's a lot of bad out there. But the reason it hasn't completely surfaced is because we've got all the guns and we won World War II, and there's a lot of history and a lot of, and by the way, to give us credit, I mean, we do have a more stable legal system than a lot of places. I mean, I wouldn't want to live in China. I wouldn't want to be under the Chinese regime, but, which is not to say that we're not enormously corrupt, because as you and I both know, there's enormous corruption going on in what's happening these days. I mean, I tweeted a few months ago or something. Did you see all the politicians buying the NVIDIA stock before that big government contract came out?
Yeah.
Right?
Sick.
I mean, it's just
Pelosi's husband.
Yeah, it's $5 million worth. It's just unbelievably sick how corrupt the system is. And we can see it. And really the only way we can all collectively vote against it is to take our money out of their system as much as possible and put it in sound money, which is silver, gold, and Bitcoin, in my opinion. Some people would disagree on the Bitcoin. I think if they are disagreeing, I would beg them to take the time to read the Bitcoin Standard by Saifedean Amos and understand what it really is. Forget all the shit coins, forget all the other crap, forget all the pumpers. Just look down to core principles of what Bitcoin is. Money, before money was gold, money was a ledger. When we were sitting around in caves, okay, they were saying, all right, I killed 2 bison, I'm going to put some marks on the wall. You owe me 2 bison, and then when you kill some, we'll put your marks on the wall. They didn't even know what gold was. I mean, money's just social obligations between people, right? I did something, I got a chit. Okay, I can spend my chit for what you did. And, that's a ledger. That's not something physical. And a lot of gold guys get stuck up on this. Well, it's got to be a physical thing you can touch. It's real. It's been around for 5,000 years. Okay, fine. I buy all that. It's all true. And I love gold. I got a ton of gold. But, if you can get a ledger that nobody can fuck with, which is what Bitcoin is, it could be a ledger as well. Money can be a ledger. And by the way, Bitcoin is causing these guys some serious heartache. I mean, Bitcoin is more or less in a period of hyperinflation. The dollar is kind of hyperinflating in Bitcoin terms, which is causing them a lot of trouble. And I have to laugh. I think it's a good thing. The sooner the system collapses, the sooner our kids and our grandkids are going to get on a sound money system, and we're going to be in better shape. And all this stupid nonsense that's going on is going to stop. It's unbelievable how screwed up things are. So I was looking at this the other day. I was reading something on Twitter about, it's been so long since we had anything close to sound money. And this bubble, let's go to the stock market bubble for a minute. I mean, you got to look at some of this, some of the things on the web about it. I mean, it's amazing how much of a bubble this stock thing is. Just amazing.
Before we continue, help us clicking that YouTube like button and subscribe now to our channel. This shows the algorithm that you valued this information. And it helps us spread that message. Sharing is caring. And now, let's continue.
What to do in such a situation? Inform yourself and keep your financial education strong. We from the Compact Group offer our loyal subscribers a free educational portal with first-hand monetary, financial, and economic knowledge. Enter our invite-only Insider Club by clicking the link below. You will get access to first-class information far earlier than the rest. We have prepared a special deal for all our members where you can access a giant pool of Robert Kiyosaki's financial wisdom for just $1. To find out more, simply click the link below and join our Insider Club absolutely free. But there is more you can and should do. Build up several streams of income. More and more people realize that they have to take their future in their own hands, but they don't know how and where to start. We from Compact offer our Insider Club members unique opportunities. Strengthen your financial muscle and get the edge. Click the link below. Become part of our free Insider Club. No financial obligations. But there's one important thing you have to know. You have to become active. So do it now. Become active and see you on the other side.